I get chills. I just got chills just now.
It's getting to me.
Oh gosh.
The things that these kids go through in our communities is something that I would never be able to. When I have parents coming up to me telling me that their child never did homework before and now all of a sudden they're running home to make sure that they're finishing all their homework, that in itself is the best feeling in the world.
I just know that when I'm around my kids, there's a natural spark that happens.
The look on my students' faces to know that somebody else cares about them is totally heartwarming.
I joined TFA because leaving high school I felt like there wasn't really that teacher that was there for me. I felt like I didn't want other students to go through the same experience that I did.
It's easy to look at other countries and be like, wow, they have all these problems, let's go help them. But what about the problems we have here?
Hands should be up. Hands should be up. What does that mean? I technically grew up in Orlando. I never knew of the type of poverty that existed here in Miami.
I'm born and raised in Miami. I didn't see it as another option to go to another city to influence another group of students because I wanted to give back to the place I call home.
How many of you got check marks?
Both of my parents have illnesses that have been diagnosed later in their life. And my brother and I had to grow up at a very young age and learn to be responsible for ourselves, and my parents instilled that value in us. So it's something that I also try to instill in my students because I see that that's kind of what's driven me out of a dark situation.
I can relate with some of my students who, are feeling pressure from peers to, become an adult way too fast, right? So I could relate to my kids on that level because that's something that I went through.
With 10 power?
Yeah, so you'd have to figure out what this side of the equation equals.
The teachers in my life were often the role models that I saw. I mean, especially from a low-income family. I had parents who were always working, and I didn't really see a lot of these authoritative figures that we look up to now in society, and I feel like the route for me was through education.
I had 9 butterflies and 2 flew away. I had a teacher, Miss Earl, and she always held me to a very high standard. And I think that's the love that I want to portray and give to my kids as well. People should support TFA because it's just a brilliant organization.
It's really a beautiful cause, like what we do with our kids and the impact that I feel have had just in 1 year is incredible, but none of that would be possible without the donors.
You can support in so many ways. I mean, our students are so gracious, so when they see that other people in the community do care about them and they come out in any way that they can, our students are very, very thankful for that.
Teachers across the board are really great, but TFA teachers have a special, unique approach to which they do things. So what I think is unique about TFA is that they look at a whole child when they're teaching. They look at the family circumstance, they look at life, they look at home, they look at what they like to do. They encourage us to get to know our kids on a totally different level, and you're teaching a kid how to strive and do amazing in this world, knowing this content, but also knowing that they matter.
Our students really need support and love, and you can just see them, the spark just bursts inside them when they get that.
The biggest impact I've seen in the classroom is the way that students relate with one another. So once they start helping each other and they start working together as a group and as a community in the classroom, then they start to see growth and they all start to feel better about each other, and they in turn help each other feel better as well.
My kids last year came a really long way. Coming in very, very brilliant children, but they were dealing with a lot. And there was just a sense of calm that I hadn't seen in them. That they're starting to respect and see each other as people and be able to watch that and see it and it be real and know that you got to do that. It was really cool.
Despite their area code or despite their circumstances, there's always a way for you to better everything around you.
Seeing my students going to 5th grade now, I'm thinking about them and I want to get them to college.
I think it does a really good job of bringing a very unique group of people together who are brilliant and all in their own right, and training them up to do probably the most amazing and important work that we can do on this earth, and it's teaching our children.